All right, welcome everybody to Youngstown Studio. I'm BJ Lisko, alongside me, Cliff Hickman, and we're in for another special edition of Pro Wrestling Quarterly. A couple of wrestling pay-per-views running head-to-head in some capacity here this weekend. With AEW is running All Out. The WWE has Wrestlepalooza. But Cliff, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, man. So a lot of wrestling this weekend. We mentioned off air just sort of briefly. WWE running counter programming to AEW seemingly all the time now, which I'm not really sure who that benefits really, but you know how WWE works. They just want to monopolize the market like they always sort of have. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on WWE sort of constantly kind of trying to troll AEW with running pay-per-views and stuff at the same time?
Yeah, I don't know if they're accomplishing what they think they're accomplishing. I know some people really freak out about it, and those are the people that watch everything. I don't know how many of those there are, though. I feel like if you're a fan of one or the other, that's where you're going. For me, it makes it very easy. The only chance WWE has of me watching their programming is if there's nothing else on. And since they are determined to run against AEW, it makes it very easy to ignore them.
Yeah, and the other thing, WWE it seems like trying to watch their pay-per-views, has switched about 10 times in the last few years about where you're going to stream it from, what service it is. Now they signed a deal with ESPN, so they're going to stream on the ESPN app, which I have regular cable and I have ESPN on that, but I still don't know if I'm going to get if that's going to be available to me. Like, I don't know if I need an upgrade to do that. Like, I have ESPN and ESPN2, I think, but I don't have the full. I don't know if I need to buy another package. I have no idea. So I have no idea if that's going to be available for me to watch as a subscriber or whatever. But yeah, a lot of things WWE is doing between that. I've seen complaints about higher ticket prices for their events and them kind of gouging their customers on that. So yeah, I mean, it's boy, they're making it not easy to find, not easy to watch with all the constant sort of back and forth dealings. So yeah, I mean, I guess I, like probably thousands of other people, are going to find it on Saturday when we go to tune in for that, whether we get it or we have to pay more for it.
Yeah, it's it's another streaming service. If you don't have cable, I think it's and it's an expensive one. Like the ESPN package, if you've cut the cord, I think they said for this service is like $40 a month. So It is not cheap. You might as well get the AEW pay-per-view at that point, because the WWE premium live events are 5 matches, and there are people that time the wait time. There was more like wait time, video time, and dead time than actual wrestling on the last couple. So, yeah. I mean, it's up to you I understand if you're a huge WWE fan. And like you said, now it's like all their shows are on a different service. SmackDown is on USA. You have to have Netflix if you want to see Raw. Right. Saturday night's main event is still on Peacock. Now you got this ESPN thing going on.
They also have the CW, and then they have the
NXT, yeah.
And there was another one streaming somewhere else too. That's like like sort of their version of AEW Dark, where it's like, but I can't remember where that.
Yeah, I don't even know where that. I don't know. They have so much stuff going on, and like you said, They had that line from Mark Shapiro the other day where he's like, yeah, Vince McMahon kind of priced these tickets for families. We're not doing that anymore. We feel like we can extract more value. So they're telling you right away they're going to hold you upside down and shake you until all the loose change falls out, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And then on top of that, the announcement comes out that Wrestlemania in 2027 is going to be in Saudi Arabia, which we've already talked about this before. With they're doing Royal Rumble next year out of Saudi Arabia, which I think is just completely stupid. And again, that's going to be a 1 p.m. start or whatever the hell it's going to be. It's going to be way early in the day, which I hate. on top of that, too, outside of the starting time, I mean, how many people traveled to WrestleMania that became sort of like an annual kind of pilgrimage? All the independent shows that ran on that weekend. I mean, guaranteed there's going to be something else going on in the States. I'm sure Tony Khan is going to have something with AEW running that weekend with a bunch of other indie wrestlers. Like he's going to try to capitalize on the fact that they're going to be out of the country to get people in America all to congregate kind of in the same place. But yeah, I mean, what are your sort of immediate thoughts on, the WWE announcing that WrestleMania is going to Saudi Arabia?
Absolutely terrible. It's a company, that has no morals already. With the trafficking lawsuits still hanging over them, the constant Saudi Arabia trips, not to get into politics, they're very cozy with this current administration, it's very divisive, not to take one side or another. You're not bringing the people together by having constant photo ops and things like that with those guys. So it's just really weird. I don't know how to feel about it. They're just trying to extract as much money as possible. There are certainly big paydays to be had by taking events to Saudi Arabia. It's just all it seems like every day I see some horrible story about, you know, prison wings named after the king or whatever for people that talk bad about him. And
Yeah.
it's really crazy. It just feels gross. And like you said, and then there's the thing, like, the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, these were holidays for wrestling fans where they get together with friends and watch them at night.
Yeah.
It's akin to like Ohio State and Texas. People were complaining about that kickoff game, that big game being a noon game. This is the equivalent of that for wrestling fans. It's like, hey, enjoy the Royal Rumble at noon or
Yeah.
WrestleMania at noon.
Yeah, I'm with you that it just kind of feels gross. And it's like, all right, how long until Saudi Arabia just tries to buy every sport and buy everything because they have unlimited money there that they're throwing out? I mean, WWE probably just, which even, contradicts we're not pricing it for families anymore. We're going to price people out of this, or we're going to raise prices on tickets. Like, how much money are you getting from Saudi Arabia to take this thing over there? You probably have enough money to cover your whole business model for the course of however many years. The hundreds of millions of dollars are probably getting to take this thing over there. So yeah, it's just great. Like, yeah, like just is Saudi Arabia just going to buy everything at some point? Yeah, like you said, it feels gross. And it's just, again, I'm not a fan. So yeah, 2 days in Saudi Arabia with the show starting at noon or whatever it's going to be, and I'm struggling to see the upside in this. And I mean, I know the reaction online was, very negative toward WWE for announcing this and stuff too. So, but I mean, it sounds like they're in bed over there pretty good. So it doesn't seem like that's gonna go anywhere. And like I just said, with Saudi Arabia paying a substantial amount of money for this, and probably gonna, it's probably gonna cover WWE's nut for quite a while. just taking it over there for these couple shows. So unfortunately, I think we're going to see more of it going forward.
Yeah, and they're making no bones about it. It's kind of a microcosm of where corporations are in America, where the only thing they care about, shareholder value. That is the only metric that matters. It's why you saw what they did to the city of New Orleans. They announced the WrestleMania for them next year. After they announced it, Las Vegas offered them more money to host it. They offered to pay them to host it. So then they hastily put out a thing that said, hey, remember that WrestleMania in New Orleans in 2026? Not New Orleans anymore. It's in Las Vegas. We're going back for another year. So, I think they gave them money in the bank next year to New Orleans. They tossed them that after taking away WrestleMania. So it's just it's all about that shareholder value, and that's how a lot of companies right now are doing it. You see all these layoffs, and it's such a boring thing to talk about. as far as, you want to keep the focus on in the ring, but it kind of forces its way into the conversation, especially when you take into account the human cost of it's like you see the numbers of people being laid off. So they can just keep hitting these magical shareholder prices. It's crazy.
Yeah, the whole thing pretty much stinks. But moving on to wrestling here this weekend, we'll start with the WWE and Wrestlepalooza, which is going to be 7 p.m. Saturday, I believe, in Indianapolis. Sort of the most marquee matchup out of this is a mixed tag match. CM Punk and the recently returned AJ Lee will take on Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. The build of this, I think, has been pretty cool. I think AJ Lee coming back was probably the worst kept secret, one of the worst kept secrets in WWE recently, as far as that goes. I know you're not crazy about CM Punk. I don't know how you feel about AJ Lee. This seems like it's going to be a CM Punk and AJ Lee. This is a payoff for them, to sort of, Seth and Becky have been kind of going. It's been fairly one-sided, for them. And I mean, I don't think you're going to have AJ Lee come back and lose her first, sort of return match. I feel like this is just a, sort of a quick payoff / kind of throwaway that's going to build to more between, CM Punk and Seth Rollins in the future, and Becky Lee and AJ Lee in the future, sort of individually. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Oh, I'm glad this is continuing on for a second year or a third year at this point between these guys. This is kind of a nostalgia match from an era that, for me personally, drove me completely away from watching. So, I mean, I understand for those that are excited for this. For me, I wouldn't watch this with your eyes. I'm out of here, man. That's bad right there. That's like every time they seem to find some match, it's like they design it in a lab to just make me, I feel nauseous. No, it's just that era of WWE was so bad to me, and it's like they keep calling back to it. I'm like, I don't want to see this.
Yeah, I think I told you that I wasn't watching wrestling at all at that point when Punk's really big first run on AJ Lee, so I'm not as like I'm not spoiled on it. You know what I mean? I didn't have any preconceived anything about CM Punk when he came back. I was like, all right, this guy seems all right. He's a good promo, whatever. I mean, you have a completely different feeling on that. AJ Lee, I can honestly say I've never seen an AJ Lee match in my life. I never saw her. I knew she's Punk's wife. I mean, obviously you see the clips and stuff here and there, whatever, but I wasn't watching them. So I'm not as jaded on this as you are. I think it'll be an entertaining match, but I just I think this is just a sort of a throwaway to get the sort of the feel good CM Punk AJ Lee when AJ's back, and then they're going to split off into their own individual feuds.
Don't get me wrong, she was a fine wrestler, but she was like in that last era of what they called the Divas Championship.
Yeah.
It was before Charlotte and Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, and Bayley, and all the really good women's wrestlers kind of came up, and wrestling actually became a focus of the division.
Right.
So it's like that was kind of a really dark era for women's wrestling there.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
no doubt.
I'm not saying anything bad about it. She was probably the most talented in ring at the time, but in ring was not exactly what Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon were looking for in that era.
No, you're absolutely right about that. But so moving on here, a singles match for the undisputed WWE Championship. We've got Cody Rhodes, the champion, against Drew McIntyre, the challenger. I kind of feel bad for Drew McIntyre. They always stick him in these championship matches. He never seems to win them. And then the one time he didn't Seth Rollins cash in like 5 seconds later on him or whatever? Somebody somebody cashed in 5 seconds later.
I think Damian Priest cashed in on him immediately. Then he won Money in the Bank and cashed it in, and CM Punk cost him that. Yeah, he works really hard, has really great matches, does really great promos, and very rarely gets any sort of reward out of it. So it'll be interesting. This has the potential to be a good match. I don't know. I don't think he's going to win, though.
I'm with you, man. I think it's going to be a great match. Drew McIntyre always has good matches. Cody always has solid matches. So, I think that from a match perspective, it's going to be good. But yeah, I just don't. I don't see Drew McIntyre walking away with a champion in Indianapolis on a on a throwaway PLE event that they just put together to run off as an AEW. So yeah, unfortunately, I think Drew McIntyre is going to take the L here. Unless they try to set up something else for Cody, down the line, and I don't know. I don't know what the next feud is after this. I mean, if they continue this on in some sort of fashion between Cody and Drew, or if they're gonna, pivot off of this and have Cody Rhodes take on somebody else down the line. I'm really not that in tune to know who would be next in line for Cody Rhodes.
I do not know either. They may not even know the year they've had putting things together.
Yeah, true. So last up here on Wrestlepalooza, a singles match. The John Cena retirement tour rolls on. He's going to take on Brock Lesnar. I think I know your feelings on this match. I don't know what. Again, this is going back to nostalgia run with Cena and Lesnar. I mean, do they have the only way I see Cena losing this really is if they're going to whoever his next opponent's going to be, whoever's the next in the thing. I could see them coming in and costing Cena the match here. But otherwise, I think he's going to beat Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? If there's no interference, I don't see Cena beating Lesnar. I see Lesnar maybe controlling the match for the majority of it with however many, the German suplexes and whatever else that he does, where they start counting those down. But yeah, I'm not thrilled about this match. I mean, John Cena can kind of go away at this point, in my opinion. I mean, no disrespect to the guy, but it's just, I'm kind of over him in ring.
Yeah, they botched this retirement tour as badly as you can botch it. They turned him, which should have been a huge deal, but it seems like they had zero plan for what comes next, or things fell apart and they could not come up with an alternate way out of it.
Yeah.
Something went horribly wrong. John Cena's year has been a disaster. I guess his last couple matches have not been bad. That was not the case earlier in the year. Those matches were not good at Elimination Chamber. And I think WrestleMania, the Cody Rhodes match, was the last match I actually watched. And it was bad. It's just weird they keep putting him in the main event position. I guess, the in-ring's not a focus at all, and Lesnar, like you said, is very... I mean, he's going to do 2 or 3 things over and over and over and over, and
right.
That's going to be it. This is not something I was like, boy, I want that again. When both are past their prime and...
Right. And sort of, and like you said also too, like there's only 5 matches on this whole card, but like you said, I think the entrances and the packages are going to outrun the in-ring action on any of this too. So yeah, I think assuming I get this, I can watch the replay on the ESPN app. I'll probably go back to this on Sundays where I can fast forward through all the stuff, and then it'll probably take me about an hour to watch everything, as opposed to sitting through this for probably close to 4. So that's Wrestlepalooza. Moving on, let's go to All Out, AEW All Out, which is going to start at 3 p.m. on Saturday. I've highlighted, I think there's like 13 or 14 matches on this in total with the pre-show and everything else too. So this is going to be a marathon. I think the pre-show and everything starts at like 2 o'clock. So a couple of those will be before the actual sort of card starts. But one thing that I highlighted too, I see the return of Eddie Kingston, who's going to be in a singles match for Big Bill. I've missed Eddie Kingston. I've liked a lot of what he's done. I think Eddie Kingston's a great promo. I think AEW didn't capitalize a couple of times on when he was way over and the crowd really, really wanted him to win. So yeah, I'm curious to see what they do in his return. Big Bill, I think, has been good from an in-ring perspective as well, and on the mic, honestly. So I'm curious to see what they do there. I don't necessarily see Eddie Kingston losing, his return match here. But what are your thoughts on Big Bill versus Eddie Kingston?
Yeah, a lot of people were wondering why they didn't have Eddie Kingston return as a surprise. The explanation kind of made sense, where they said they wanted to advertise it ahead of time to move tickets. And I think it will. I'm definitely excited to see Eddie Kingston. I know he was pretty vocal about his trials and tribulations of coming back from that broken leg. It was not an easy recovery process for him physically or mentally. So it's just great to see him back and able to get back in the ring here. I don't think he loses this. I wonder if this is, if they let him just run over Big Bill, unfortunately. Like you said, Big Bill has been very, very good this year. They have so many great tag teams, and I think him and Brian Keith are on that list of teams that could be really good, but they have so much depth right now. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm curious to see Eddie Kingston back as well. I had the chance to interview him a few years back. Just a super nice guy and very funny on the phone too. Like, I mean, he sort of stays, he keeps up kayfabe very, very well, and he's very good at it. So a couple of quotes that I took from him made some sort of made the rounds where he was talking about protecting kayfabe and stuff. So, which I always appreciate that out of any wrestler when they protect kayfabe, and Eddie Kingston is old school in that way. So glad he's back. I wish him nothing but the best here going forward. Next up, singles match for the AEW World Championship. I've got Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher with a stipulation that if any member of the Don Callis family interfere, Fletcher will be disqualified and stripped of his TNT championship. I think this is going to be a great match. I gotta think they're going to keep this on Hangman. I mean, I don't think you'd have given him the belt recently just to have him lose it here at All Out. I think it's going to be a good match, maybe something that sets up something else for the future. But what are your thoughts on Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher?
I think it is going to be just a terrific match. I don't think Kyle Fletcher is going to win quite yet. I think within the next couple of years, him becoming a world champion is a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
That is a guy they've been really successful at making a star, and he's backed it up with his performances. I mean, he's been great all year. This was a late pivot. It was supposed to be Wardlow that was supposed to get this spot. And then he unfortunately came back and got injured right away. And I guess he's out for an extended period of time. And this is probably the best call you could make. You go with the TNT champion that has great matches every time out, mid-20s. This is a guy that's going to be around, barring injury of any type, for a long, long, long time. I think Fletcher is one of those pillar guys that, you build your company around in the future.
Yeah, for sure. He's going to be around for a while to come in AEW. So I wouldn't be surprised if they revisit this match a couple years down the line and stuff too. You know what I mean? When there's more of a build to it, and it is the sort of the main plan. But yeah, for sure going to be good from an in-ring perspective. Next up, a four-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship. Timeless Toni Storm, the champion, takes on challengers Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, and Thekla. Jamie Hayter is sort of unfortunate because she got hurt and she was way over, and she hasn't I don't think she's gotten back to that point where she was before, she was out for an extended period of time. Chris Statlander's had quietly some pretty solid showings recently, and they're putting her more into sort of the main event kind of picture or a bigger picture on the card. Thekla, you're going to have to cue me in on, because I don't know a whole lot about Thekla, but I don't think again I don't know that they pivot off of Timeless Toni Storm just because she's just still so hot and still so good in that role. So I don't know that you take the title away from her here. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Tekla might be the biggest threat to her in this match, ironically. She's had a really strong summer since debuting. She's part of the Triangle of Madness with Julia Hart and Sky Blue. She's kind of got some contortionist things going on. Like the late Bray Wyatt, she'll do that thing where she bends in half backwards, but she then walks like a spider with it. Mm-hmm. And then runs and spears people, and it's gotten over with the crowd. I like her. I think she's very, very unique. It's a great character. I don't, like you said, Toni Storm man, when we get to our award show, regardless of male or female, she may be the wrestler of the year. I don't think anyone's been hotter as
Mm,
far as when you combine in-ring promos, the whole package, the character, just absolutely incredible. She's delivered every time.
yeah.
And, you know, there's other storylines. Chris Statlander obviously is being recruited by the Death Riders like Daniel Garcia was. You saw him take them up on that offer. So, and you had Willow kind of warn Harley Cameron, who's hanging out with Chris Statlander, hey, you better watch her. You know, you saw what she did to me, and she's
Mm,
hanging around, you know, the Death Riders are in her ear. So
mm,
that's something to watch. And like you said, Jamie Hayter, I really enjoy the like Scooby Doo type outfits she's been coming out in with the like the 70s flannel and the Daphne like inspired stuff. She's been terrific in ring. And I think this is going to be a great match. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. I don't know that I could take it off Tony Storm right now, though. Like you said, she's on like a generational run. It's like so hard to get someone to that level. And,
yeah.
you know, man, when they're on it, I'm kind of content to just keep it rolling.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that too. And yeah, shout out to Jamie Hayter for the outfits. She looks straight off of that '70s show. So
Oh
we're
yeah,
just
those are incredible. I always get it every week. She comes out with something new too. I'm like, it's always like, oh, what are we getting? You know, it's incredible.
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I appreciate that from Jamie Hayter, and I do think Jamie Hayter is eventually going to get back to where she was, like I said, prior to injury. But I don't necessarily think it's going to be in this spot this weekend. So next up, I've highlighted a tables and thumbtacks match between Mark Briscoe and MJF. They've built this up pretty well, and I, I got to say poor Mark Briscoe in this one because I don't think MJF's losing back-to-back marquee matches. I think MJF's going to take a lot of abuse and punishment. I think he's going to land on a lot of tacks and go through a lot of tables. I think Mark Briscoe is too, but I think MJF's going to get the win here. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Mark Briscoe, MJF?
Oh man, what a great program this has been. MJF has had an incredible summer, and his schedule is insane. He's doing another movie right now and like
Yeah,
flying back and forth. It's Violent Night 2, which is the David Harbour Santa Claus movie where Santa Claus, it's like Home Alone but rated R, where
yeah.
Santa Claus is killing terrorists. I saw the first one and it was hilarious. I can only imagine where MJF fits into this, and I'm excited to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But this summer, I mean, MJF's been incredible. That promo he did like last week where he was going to Collision right after he got married. And he was talking about walking out the door the next morning
Yeah.
to get to Mark Briscoe. Absolutely outstanding. Mark Briscoe is always outstanding. This, like, I think someone described it as like this is like a TNA stipulation from the early 2000s in the best way possible, and
Mm-hmm.
that we have no idea what it is, but it'll probably be, like crazy and fun and fantastic. Man, it's got everything. I could see it going either way, but I'd be shocked if MJF loses. The only way I could see him lose is if they're going to continue. Like, you've seen him kind of mentally spiral after the loss to Hangman. He seems a bit more unstable.
It's not going to end pretty. We'll put it that. We'll put it that way.
No, I think this is going to be pretty crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know they kind of build up some conflict between MJF and Tony Khan last night on Dynamite as well, where
Yeah.
MJF was upset not only that he lost, and I'm kind of glad they did this. He can no longer, the cash in is dead.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take a casino gauntlet contract and like Money in the Bank it and wait till someone's dead after a match and say, "Oh, I want a world title opportunity." You got to call it in advance by a week,
Mm-hmm.
which off topic, but I wish everyone would kind of go away. I think Money in the Bank, that whole idea is kind of played out at this point.
Mhm.
It makes everyone look bad, doesn't it? The guy that cashes in, it doesn't make them look great. You know, it makes
Right.
it look like a fluke. The other guy was already dead, so it just, I don't know what it does. It was a cool concept at first, don't get me wrong, but after 20 years, I think we're running out of ideas to make it look credible and make it interesting. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, I like that stipulation that you need a week, whatever. It gives it time to where it's not just the surprise sort of cash in or taking advantage of somebody when they're already beat down. So, yeah, I'd be fine with it just going away in WWE, but I do like this stipulation as far as that in AEW. So, moving on here, a couple more to highlight. We had a coffin match between Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley. I think, as far as brutality goes and crazy spots, I think this and the Briscoe MJF one are going to kind of compete with each other on this show. Darby Allin, this is his first big match back, or this is his first match back period since he climbed Mount Everest.
he had a match against Claudio during the Philadelphia residency that was just insane.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's the one where Claudio picked him up and chucked him through the like from the ring through the announce table on the outside, like a frisbee.
Yeah.
Man, Darby, I worry about his, it's always like you start, is this guy going to die on these things? But I'm sure this is going to be insane. Like you said, last month you had Jon Moxley pierce his ear, I think, with a screwdriver or pliers or some combination of the two. So God knows what these guys are going to do to each other.
Yeah, I'm checked out on Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
I can't with his matches anymore. They're not wrestling matches. It's just some sort of gore that he tries to shoehorn into every match now, or all his marquee matches anyway. And so yeah, I when he's on, I tune off. I just, nothing personal against the guy, but I can't. That's not wrestling to me. It's just he's doing indie show death match sort of shock value stuff, and I've never been a fan of that. To me, it just isn't wrestling. So yeah, I mean, just I hope both guys walk away out of this without too many too many injuries or nothing, nothing super serious. But yeah, I fully expect, Jon Moxley to up the sort of gross meter on whatever he's doing in the ring here, just because that's been his MO for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad. I can't understate how glad I am that they are out of the main event. I don't so much mind them doing whatever they're going to do on the undercard, but man, that was tiresome when they're just, 20 guys. It was like the bloodline, except in AEW, and AEW is more of a pure wrestling company. I think it just made it not fit even more so. I mean, it did work. They did fill the stadium to watch him lose it. So I guess in that respect, even though I didn't like it, it kind of worked. I'll give them that. But I'm with you in that I'm not the biggest Jon Moxley fan. He's been on top a long time, and I'm ready for the Kyle Fletchers and the Hangmans and guys like that to kind of take over that main event scene.
I got you. I'm with you on that. So moving on here, two more to highlight. We've kind of done this backwards. I'm not sure what the main event is on the show, whatever. I'm just kind of going through over. Next up, a singles match for the AEW TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné, the champion, against Rio, the challenger. This is going to be a Jim Cornette view, but Rio's just too small for me to believe her. You know what I mean? Like, I nothing against her. I mean, she's good. She's not a bad wrestler or anything like that. But just to see her, although it's a little more, I will say this: Mercedes Moné is not like she's not big. You know what I mean? She's not like physically imposing or whatever. So it's a closer match. And it's more of a stylistic fit with Rio and Mercedes Moné. I think the match is going to be fine. It's hard for me to take Rio seriously, just as small as she is. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, kind of the same. I don't think there's any universe that Mercedes loses. They're going to get her to double-digit titles somehow, I think. And nor should she lose. She's been, if it wasn't for Tony Storm, I mean, she's had an incredible year too. Her in-ring stuff has been great. Her promos have been fantastic.
Mhm.
Everything she's been doing is great. I'm sure this will be a really good match. Yeah, Riho, I honestly had almost totally I forgot she existed until she
Mhm.
showed up in that Philadelphia residency.
Mhm.
And my wife, who basically started watching after we got married 3 years ago, so she had no idea who Riho was.
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, that's the first ever world champion that only seems to show up like once every year or two, you know?
Yeah, there,
So,
yeah,
um,
there was something with her. I don't know if it's her passport or there was
oh God, that's a mess right now, I heard.
there's something with where she could only come over so often or whatever. I think is what. But yeah, I think that's why she's only on so many limited dates, and you only see her once in
That
a while
makes
because
sense.
it's hard for her to get over. It's hard for her to get to the States. Otherwise, we probably see her more often.
They
But
said
so
that's what's going on with Hikaru Shida. It's sometimes they said like the current administration, the passports, for
yeah,
some reason, it's just a total nightmare, and she never had problems before.
right.
So that's where Hikaru Shida's been because, that's, I imagine once they figure that out, I mean, she's got a lot of great matchups to have when she comes back, and
Hmm.
she's always a reliable wrestler. But when you say that, it makes sense. Everything administratively, again, this is not me being political, or it is what it is. It's just a
Yeah,
mess.
it's
It's
just
hard
harder to
right
get.
now.
Yeah, it's harder for people to get
Stuff
in and out
done.
of the country right
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt. So, the last match I have highlighted is the one I'm most looking forward to: Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus FTR with Stokely. I think this is going to be a great match. This is four veterans in there that are going to be able to tell a story. This is going to be a great tag team wrestling match. I don't even care who wins. I know it's going to be good. So, this this one I think is going to be it's got 5-star written all over it, especially from a psychology standpoint. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus FDR?
Oh, you read my mind. It's my most anticipated match on the entire show. That's worth the price of admission alone. I think this is just going to be great. FTR on a generational run. Cope and Christian didn't look like they missed a step last month in that tag match with Sabian and Luchasaurus.
Mm-hmm.
I've enjoyed Christian a lot, where it hasn't just been a clean, like, flip a switch, I've turned into a good guy. He's
Yeah.
still kind of in this tweener mode where you're still seeing these tendencies of his patriarch character coming into play. So, man, I think this is going to be really good. This could be a show stealer. And FTR the last 2 weeks, speaking of tag teams that could make noise, the Priest and Billington matches, I don't know if you've seen those on
Mm-hmm.
Collision. Man, those were absolutely incredible, especially that second one. I'm hoping they keep Priest and Billington as a team because I
Yeah.
think those two, I mean, I don't think that was a fluke. I just think those two are really, really good
Mm-hmm.
and could be, something if they keep them together. But FTR, man, I was just blown away by the whole thing. I thought it was great, absolutely incredible.
Is there any chance that they turn Christian Cage on Adam Copeland here?
I think they did that so much last. I don't know. I think it's more likely that they end up sticking together as a team.
Yeah.
I know Copeland. I know he said after matches, and I definitely, as someone with a bad back, empathize with this big time. Where he said it's like after the big main event matches, it's taken him a couple days to like kind of move around normally.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to extend the career of both guys, I would keep them together at this
Yeah.
stage. I think you could have a big money run with those guys as tag team champions, especially if they can kind of evolve their characters in a fun way where they're playing off each other. I'm in no way done with it. I hope they don't turn them because I would actually like to see them continue on. I think it'd be I mean, there's so many matches they could do. They could still do, the Young Bucks, the Outrunners, all those teams are still out there for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they just they just reunited them, so I can't see them splitting them up this quickly. Maybe somewhere down the line if it makes sense, but I'm with you. I want to see I want to see Edge and Christian back together again, man. That's the so which is cool and why I'm so much looking forward to this match. So, well, that's all the ones I've highlighted here, man. Is there anything I've missed out of either of these cards that you want to hit before we get out of here?
One that I think is going to be really good that I'm excited for is the Hurt Syndicate against Ricochet and the Gates of Agony.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be really fun. Especially, I really liked Collision last night. Toa Leona versus Bobby Lashley was a total car crash, and that was, you want to talk a meat match where you got two big guys just running into each other. That was it, and it was great. And then it ended. MVP broke his cane over Ricochet's back, and in the post match scrum there, which was a great moment. So I'm really looking forward to that personally. I think it's been a really strong story, and I like all those guys, so I want to see that.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, everybody out there, man, thank you so much again for watching here. Cliff, you and I will probably be back again. We'll see what other pay-per-views we got sort of to preview. Coming up. Obviously, we'll be back around the sort of War Games ish era. Since that goes with sort of our original concept of doing this around sort of the big four of WWE. Although I'm sure we'll talk about plenty of AEW in that one as well. So, but yeah, everybody.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I was going to say the one thing about the counter programming is it makes it more convenient to do the shows for us because everything's at once. Wrestle Dreams next month, so I'm sure WWE will have something that night. So we might be able to get together. I love doing these shows. So.
Yeah, no, man, absolutely. So yeah, that is one benefit, like you said, of the counter programming. It does make it a lot easier to talk about everything at once. So, but all right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. For Cliff Hickman, I'm BG Lisko, and we'll catch you guys again soon.